Okay.
We're back in action.
It's so exciting. Madison, you just got back from vacation.
I did. I had like the biggest urge to high five you. So can we?
Are we
like
seeing?
For some reason, I was just like, we're back in action. And then my hand like literally wanted to pop up and be like, woo.
No, this is good because I feel like in all the episodes, almost 200 previous to this, if I wanted a high five, it was like, okay, ew, why would you do that? And
I'll high
now,
five all fucking day, dude. I'll fist pump. I'll do anything.
okay, I'm really excited to hear that.
Yeah.
So hey guys, it's been a minute for us. We took 1 or 2 weeks off from podcasting. 2?
I think it was
I think it was
2.
2. So
It
thanks
was
for your
2.
patience.
Yeah.
We were out and about traveling. Madison just got back from a little Euro trip.
That's right. Croatia.
Let's hear about it.
Okay, so I was telling Tess this is that I was trying to come up with like lessons that I learned from this vacation.
Because God forbid you just go on a vacation.
I know,
and
right?
enjoy.
Dude, and I thought about that too. And I was like, why do I need to pull lessons from this? But I feel like just when you travel, like one of the biggest things that I'll say that I brought back with me is just like a sense of adventure and like awe for life. Because it's like you disrupt your regular routine, which we obviously love routine. If you listen to this podcast, you know that. And doing that, like going off my routine and like sleep being disrupted and like what times I eat being disrupted, everything, I just have like a sense of like you could do anything and like it's okay. Does that make sense?
It does. Well, and I think that is a big lesson for you because your weeks and your days kind of all have a sense of routine to them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what you like and you know what works for you. And you rarely deviate from it unless there's like a big plan.
Yes. Unless I initiate it myself of like, oh no, I need to switch things up. So now we're going to go with this new routine or this new pattern or habit. Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's why it feels like, exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also like brings a lot of relief to me, I feel, because during the day when we would be out and about and we would randomly want to go get another coffee. And I'm like, okay, I've had 2 coffees today, but it's like, no, we want to go sit at this coffee shop and have another coffee. And that's not going to harm you. Like, it's okay.
Did it give you any anxiety or
no,
anything like
I
that?
felt like totally fine. And also, but it's hard to say too, because I did not have any anxiety at all because it was just such a chill atmosphere the whole time. And I don't know if it affected my sleep because the sleep was just so poor there that it's hard to say if it was the coffee. But like I suck with decaf, of course, in the morning. But then when we go out to cafes, I would just get a latte, which is like a single espresso shot. And it was totally fine. But it's like so fun to just go and do that and not worry like, how is this going to affect my health? Or like, am I going to get enough sleep tonight because I had this? It's like, that's okay. You don't need to worry about that. Let's go have this espresso with some baklava on the side.
How
dude,
incredible.
So goddamn good. We went to this like cafe or like this little bakery in one of the towns that we visited, and I think it was called Sibanek. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, in Croatia. And we got them and it was mom and pop vibe, like
the best,
all natural shit, and it was so good. And I remember one of my, I don't know if she's my cousin, she's my dad's cousin, so she's related to me somehow. She was like, you know, there's
your
like
second cousin, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Like if it's your dad's
Is it?
cousin,
No,
then
but
it's
I think
your
Kelly's
second.
my second cousin.
No, she's your
Are
first.
there first cousins?
Yes.
So they're just cousin and then second cousin.
Yeah, first
Dude,
cousin,
I need to
second
look at
cousin.
a family tree.
Your dad's cousin is
Is my second?
Mm-hmm.
So then are her children my third?
I'm not really sure how that works.
Okay. So anyway,
It
my
might be,
cousin.
listen to this shit though.
Okay.
It might be like second cousin twice removed. Now don't quote me on that, but that type of shit
But
exists
why
in family trees.
removed?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't make sense. Okay.
Okay, my mic cover was really wrong.
Just saw it.
It was so tilted. I could be totally wrong on that. And if you have intensive
Any knowledge about that, please let us know. And we're so sorry. We apologize for our stupidity with this. But anyway, my cousin, I guess, we bought it and she was like, oh my God, do you guys know there's like 500 calories in each bite? And I just thought how little that comment affects me now is so fucking awesome.
Great.
And that was another thing that I took away from the vacation is like how grateful I am to not have issues with food anymore. And I could just like eat when I'm hungry and eat even when I'm not hungry. If you want a bite of something that looks good, just eat it. Like that is so powerful in itself. And especially for me coming from like having an eating disorder like years ago. So it's fun to like put that into action and just like live your life and relax and not thinking about food every fucking second.
And then to see that nothing
happens.
comes of it. Yes.
No.
Other than you get this immense joy and life experience.
And like the fact that like I feel like I belong with the group that I'm with. Like it's like, oh my God, no, I can eat this and enjoy it and not be like, oh my God, I need to go for a walk later and like burn this off. It's like, no, I can sit on the beach all day and be totally fine.
Okay, speaking of, this was not at all what I had in my mind for this topic or for this convo
No, I
today.
like it. Let's go.
But yeah, you brought up being able to just eat whatever and be a part of the group, and I've started to introduce dairy back in. Like I eat cheese a lot now, which I avoided, if you don't know, for over 10 years. For sure over 10 years.
Yes.
And I just kind of like, for a long time I thought, okay, if you avoid it, then you're going to be okay with your stomach and your skin, because that's why I cut it out in the first place. And I've added it back in, and while there may have been some changes with my stomach health, it hasn't been anything too crazy. And I know that everyone's an individual, but you don't know unless you try. And so if you're still avoiding something food-wise or life-wise, just why don't you go try it for a little bit?
Totally.
It's really freeing, and it gives you this sense of excitement again. Like I'm like, okay, cool. Like my body can tolerate this. Like awesome. Let's go do it then.
Yeah. And it's fun because it makes food new again, and it's like a new experience. And yeah, again, with like belonging to your community and being able to eat those things.
Yeah, versus being the one who, which there's nothing wrong with being the one who says,
totally,
because
sometimes I still am the one that is like, no, I don't eat that.
Yeah, but for it not to be make or break for me, because it's not an allergy. Like there's not a serious reason why I shouldn't be eating that. It's just I created a food fear because I thought it would give me stomach aches and make me break out.
Right.
Okay, well, that's not a valid enough reason to not eat it, Tess. So get out there.
Yeah. I mean, but then it's, of course, and I know you're not saying that it couldn't be a valid reason, because sometimes that is a valid reason for some people, but I don't know what I was going to say about that.
Well, it's just, it wasn't confirmed. It was told to me by a dermatologist.
Like suggested.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe you should try going without it. So then in my head, I was like, he told me this when I was in high school. So I didn't have a developed enough brain to understand it's not like, try it. It just became my new normal.
Yes. True. And I definitely relate to that. I went through that too.
Yeah.
And also just to note that our bodies do change from 10 years ago, you know? So even when we both were eating vegan diets and that worked for us, and all of a sudden our bodies changed again, and it was like, actually that does not work for you anymore, so let's try something new. And to not be like attached to that previous belief or idea of like, I cannot eat cheese because it's going to break me out, like to venture out of that and just be like, wait, actually I'm going to try it. And then nothing happens, and you're like, this is reinforced that I can try new things and nothing bad is going to happen. And if something bad does happen,
okay,
now
then
you
have
know.
a stomach ache and I broke out a little.
Okay, it's going to go away in
recover.
a few days.
At least I know where it came from.
Yes, so true. That's great. I'm happy for you for that. Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about like on vacation. It's interesting so I went with my family and there were 9 of us, and it's interesting being with so many different personalities, even though like I've known those people since I was a baby, but just like to be in a giant house all together as adults who are coming from different walks of life and have different personalities, to work with that is insane. Like it is a skill. Like emotions run high, people are different day to day, and like having to navigate that makes you, I don't know, have like a different skill set now, I feel. And it's interesting to like get to know your family, because I obviously just see them like, you know, every few months at like a dart party or something where everyone's drinking and we throw darts and have dinner and we leave. So it's like, of course, when you go to parties like that, it's like nothing but good vibes. But then when you're living with them for 10 days, it's different.
It changes. Yeah.
It definitely is different.
There's no escaping it, you know.
There is no escaping it.
It's bound to be the full range of human emotion.
Yes, like the full spectrum. And then seeing behaviors that like my aunt does or like my dad, and I'm like, oh shit, like I have that. I have that behavior, and I don't like that they're doing that right now because I have this same thing. Yeah, so I think just
fun.
observing that.
Observing anyone And then when
We love
when it's
it.
your family,
We fucking love it. And I think it's funny because my cousin Kelly was on the trip with me. Thank God for that. And it's funny that we just would sit and psychoanalyze everyone. Like you and I do that too. And then I think, doesn't everyone do that? Like I literally love doing that.
Stop.
We just did this.
No, tell me you can smell this.
Did she?
Oh my God, did she?
Oh no, I cannot smell it. Thank God.
Are you
I think because I'm like
serious?
talking a lot, so I'm not like breathing through my nose at this moment.
The dog that Madison
Rosie.
is watching, little
Dude, she's
baby
so
girl.
happy.
We
She's
love
wagging her tail now. She's like, "Wait, did you?"
But she for
notice
sure
that?
let it rip, and it was really distracting. I know. I have to tell everybody about it. I'm sorry. Come show your face to them. Show everyone
Shame.
who did it. Yeah.
Dude.
It's okay, Rosie.
It's
Madison
okay.
does it too.
Oh yeah, right. No. We love you, but no.
Go lay down. Go lay down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. Being with your family is always something. It's always a learning experience.
It is.
You're like,
a
huh,
learning experience.
I recognize that. I do that too.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't like when I do it.
I don't.
So
Exactly.
I definitely don't like when
knock
you
it
do
off.
it. Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, okay, did I write anything else down? Yeah, learning about yourself. Sure. I mean, yeah, I feel like everything at this point is a learning lesson. And I think like being with my family on that trip, because they are my blood family, it makes me realize even more so how important like my chosen family is. Like you and Phil and like Kelly is my cousin, of course, and like Brogan, you know? Like those connections are just so strong for me, and I'm so grateful for them. Like I was like happy to come back home, even though Croatia was awesome and I love the Adriatic Sea. Is so salty and you can like float, and like listening to people speak different languages every single day, I was just like, I want to do this more, but I'm so happy to be home.
Well, I think that's pretty common, right? Like, yes, this is so cool. I'm glad I got to experience it, but there is always a part of us that craves that sense of like, okay, I'm back in like what I know, what I love.
Yes.
And you're grateful, obviously, to have a place to come home to that you love and people that you love.
Yeah, because also I'm so lucky that I have that too.
Yeah.
You know, like we've created this life that's really fucking great that I want to come home to. So yeah, feeling good about that.
Amazing.
And yeah, I had a good time.
Speaking of vacations, we're going on one very soon. We've been talking about this for months now. So if you've been listening, you're like, I know where they're going. If you're unfamiliar with Half Dome, it's in Yosemite National Park in California. And
that's right.
We're going to hike it.
That's right. 17 miles. Let's go.
17 miles. And at the top of the hike, because it's out and back, at the top of the hike, it's like this big granite. I mean, look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sure there's very few of you that don't know.
You know what, though? I feel like I've said this to people like, oh, I'm going to hike Half Dome, and they just look at me like they don't know it.
Wow, that's interesting.
Isn't it interesting?
Because
like,
I feel like Half Dome has been in my awareness for many years before I ever wanted to hike it.
But then I only think it was because my parents have hiked it.
Or maybe because we're from California.
Yeah.
And
maybe
people
the people
from
I'm talking to are not from California.
Yeah.
That's actually really highly probable. Okay. Yeah, that's true. They're just like, okay.
So guys, it's what you said, how many miles?
17.
Okay. And at the top of it, when you get to the top, and then before you come back down that same trail, there's this section where you do a cable climb, and it's up the face of a granite rock that I don't even know how long the cable climb itself is, but you like wear rubber gloves, and it's like this, like you're hoisting your body
I have to get gloves. I forgot.
I know.
Damn.
So we're actually like having to buy stuff. Like you're not just like casually going out for a day's hike. You are, but then there's that. And the idea of 17 miles is fine. That's doable. I think we're going to be totally tired at the end of it, obviously.
Of course.
But there's that whole mental component of hiking Half Dome that I am just trying to release because it's in less than a month that we're doing it.
Yes.
And I want to go there and enjoy it. And I know I've brought this up on the podcast before, but now that things that we've ordered are starting to come in preparation for this trip, and it's like, okay, it's on the calendar for next month, which is only in a couple days from now.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like I try not to like think about things too far in advance. I just like let it happen.
But then,
you know?
okay, yes and no, because I am also in this awareness that this is something that scares me. Heights in general
Oh,
scare
okay,
me.
yeah.
And there is also something to be said about the power of visualization, and in my head have like already conquered it and come back down, and we're on like the victory lap of walking back to the car. And so for me, I think there is value in thinking about it and visualizing. Okay, don't visualize that it's going to be scary or hard. I mean, maybe you include those details in it, but you are like, no, I don't stop. I keep climbing it. I keep pulling myself up. I know what it's going to be like because I've watched so many videos. I understand I'm going to be tired. I understand it's going to be scary, but visualize going all the way to the top, taking a couple pictures, and then right back down.
Yeah. No, I think that that's definitely helpful, especially if you're fearful of said thing. Like it's helpful to visualize yourself conquering it or whatever vocabulary you want to use. But yeah, I think like I don't know. I guess I just like think about doing it, but I think about just like, okay, what am I going to be wearing? Like I'm going to be with like Phil and Tess, you know, like I just think of it as like just like this fun thing that we're going to do together versus like
it being like a challenge or anything. Like you're just like, we get to go have this really cool life experience.
Yeah. And then like when I see it and I look at the cable climb and be like, oh shit. Okay. Like let's go.
Okay.
You know?
I
don't know.
great.
It's like really like lackadaisical, which I'm not that type of person. Like I'm not really like a go with the flow type of person. But like with those things, when it's like a big feat, I just am. Because if I like focus on it too much, then I'll freak myself out.
Yeah, I get that.
There's value in both, of
both.
course. Yeah. And then I think like if I do have kids one day, like am I going to be like that with birth? Like where I'm just going to be like, you know what? I know all this knowledge and I'm obviously going to inform myself on everything I need to know. But let's just see what happens, you know?
I mean, well, they do say that that's a very real thing of like you can try to plan this, but in reality, your body and the events, they're just going to play out as they're meant to.
Yes. And Tess and I literally talk about this a lot, but I have like a fear of like, not a fear of pregnancy, but like giving birth in a way. It's like you can't get out of it. Like you have to give birth. Like you are pregnant. You like, there's no way you can call in sick that day. You have to do it. I don't care what mood you're in, but you need to give birth. Like that freaks me out. But I'm down.
That's how
like,
I feel
I'm
about
ready.
Half Dome.
Okay.
We have this permit. It's for that day only. We've booked the accommodations.
There's
to
two
go
other
up there.
people going with you, so you can't call
and
out
I've been
sick.
talking about it on this goddamn podcast for months.
So you're held accountable now.
So now I have to do it.
That's true. I mean, maybe that's good for you.
I hope
It'll
so.
be perfect because I was thinking about the cable climb. Like I think about little details mostly because it's like my dad and my uncle, my dad's brother. Like my dad's uncle. His name's Kirk.
My
dad's brother. So my uncle, Jesus, we're talking about family trees today.
No, listen, Madison, the cousins and the uncles are aplenty. She's got more than we all do combined.
Yeah, it seems like it.
They're valuable characters in her life.
I've
never heard you talk about your uncles or your cousins so much than these past like 3 months on the podcast.
I know, right? I feel like
Everyone
I just
thinks
like
you're
spending
obsessed,
time
I'm
with
sure.
them. Yeah, but I'm just like, how lucky am I to have a dope ass family, though? You know?
Okay, yeah.
And
so
also, it's like,
Dome?
Yeah. Also, I was like, I can defend myself even more on this, but I won't. Okay, so they've all hiked Half Dome, and my uncle Kirk, my dad's brother, is more excited that I'm hiking than. Wait, sorry. Yeah, it's more excited that I'm hiking than I am.
Oh,
like
yeah,
he's like
let's
stoked.
go.
Yeah, like he like sends me videos all the time on it.
Does he want to come? We have one more spot.
No, he's like seriously afraid of heights. He had to be like persuaded to walk up the cable climb. Kirk, like crazy. If you knew Kirk, you would laugh at that. But
yeah, you would.
He's just like a hard ass man. So to think that he was like fearful of climbing this rock is pretty funny. But anyway, so I was like, okay, so you can be in the center of me and Phil, and like he can be behind you and I can lead, and we just walk up it, and that's how we go down it too.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's a plan.
I can do it, guys.
You will do it. It'll be great.
I know. Something else we've been thinking about, or at least I have, and I've been talking to you about it, is not like doing better at not bringing things home with you that don't need to come home with you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's work, I think that's a pretty common one that we can all relate to, or whether that's like shit going on with politics that like doesn't need to affect your family dynamic, or I'm trying to come up with like easy things that we can all relate to. Which,
Right.
did you know that there's big political news today?
What?
Oh, I found out in the grocery store. Biden dropped out.
Oh my God. Okay. I was going to make a joke about this too before we recorded because I got a text that said that. And I was like, wait, is this spam or did this actually happen?
Yeah, I guess.
He dropped out of the race completely? Interesting. We'll have to research this after.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised my dad didn't call me. I'll just call him and then he could tell me what happened.
Yeah. But like, okay, so I think about those are like two really big things. Or maybe it's friendships that are weighing you down that you then bring into your relationship, or whatever it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to leave, obviously there's a lot to say here. There's a lot to unpack. You want to include what's going on in your life with your loved ones. Like, I think there's value in me sharing with you what's going on with all of these areas so that I can unload. To a degree.
Yeah. And then I would also, like, as the person you're telling this to, it's helpful for me to hear about this and hear how it's affecting you so I can support you. But then also, like, I learn a lot of lessons from like how people interact with you, like at your work. Like, I'm like, okay, this is how you handled it with said person. Now I can take that into my life and try that with someone at my work.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that, right? There's value in sharing. There's value in opening up.
Mm-hmm.
But in my brain, there's a difference between opening up and then like taking it home with you. So being able to come home and be like, okay, this is what happened today in my world, but then drop out and get back onto your life with this person or these people that you're with.
Right.
Is different from coming home from work and just being like, or work, or seeing something on the news that like upsets you, or fill in the blank, right? Whatever
and
gets
it drags you down
Yes.
to a point of affecting everyone you're with that night.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was called out for it from Philip about, I don't want to get into details because it does involve people and things that I don't want to like talk about publicly. But he called me out as it's something that I've been doing more often than not recently. Of you're bringing this home. And I really didn't know that. And I think the reason I didn't recognize it is because I am a very open person with the people that are close to me. So I share a lot of stuff with these very specific people. And I didn't realize that it was living with me or like taking a toll on me more than I was giving it credit for.
Right.
I was like, oh, like listen to this. Or, oh, this happened to me. And I didn't realize that it was affecting me. And then it was affecting everybody around me because they care about me.
Right. Yeah. And I would just say like it essentially brought your morale down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then as people in your house, obviously like me and Phil live with you, then we can also feel that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to take inventory of where your head's at when you're coming home from work or when things are happening in your life. Like, yes, feel the emotions, talk about it, but then don't let it control how you are with other people that are not involved in those situations.
Well, so then how do you do that?
I don't have a step-by-step guide of like how to not take things home with you and let it affect you deeper than it should. I don't know. But what I do know is that it's worth looking at for yourself and figuring out, whoa, is this affecting me really deep? And like, why is it affecting me that deep? And what can I do to let that go or compartmentalize it or talk it out and release it and channel it for something better? Every situation's different. But I just experienced that conversation of like, wait, this is affecting you deeply. We've got to figure this out because it's not good. It's like a recurring thing. We've got to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I'm glad that Phil brought that to your attention because I feel like in a lot of relationships, people just let it play out and they don't sort of call you out, you know?
Yeah.
Just because it would take more work on their end, maybe. I don't really know why that is because in a relationship, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, listen, I love you and this is why I'm going to bring this up. This is affecting whatever. But I think that it's good, like, for everyone, me to hear this and for people listening, that it's like, oh, in a relationship, people do bring things like that to your attention. And that's actually very healthy.
Yeah. I do want to be called out on stuff. And the way he said it, I wish I could just copy and paste Philip. I mean, he would laugh hearing that because he and we both, like, no one's perfect. And I paint him in the picture that he is perfect because so much of what he does is wonderful in my opinion. But oh man, I wish I could copy and paste him so like everyone could have, like, I'm like, yes, he's a great partner. You should have one. You should have one.
Totally. I mean, I've definitely expressed on this podcast too, is that like you guys set the standard for like how a relationship should be. Like whenever I talk to Kelly, I'm like, dude, Tess and Phil are like mom and dad for me. Like they're mom and dad.
Dude, that's crazy to hear based on where I've been.
Yeah.
And how that has not been my story. So
I know.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah. And I also, dude, I was just thinking about Phil, about how you were saying you could like, I wish we could copy and paste him. So I'm staying at Jessica, or I don't know why I just said her name, but anyway, I'm house sitting, which is why we're on a different couch. And they walked in, like Tess and Phil came over so we could record, and Phil isn't here because he left to go have lunch with his friend. But he walked in and he was like, I don't think this was Rosie, who is the dog that I'm sitting, but he's like, a dog took a dump on the lawn, like in the front yard, pretty high up. And he goes, that's pretty rude. Dude, that just made me laugh. And I was like, I'll think about that for like a day. Because that is rude. And also that's fucking funny.
He was like, wow, like this is really close to
where's
their
the
gate?
Respect?
Yeah. How did this even happen? And why would it not get picked up?
You would hope that it's like a kid was walking his dog. But if it was an adult, like shame on you, dude.
If it was a kid or an adult, you had to walk up the path.
That's right. Unless your dog was off leash. Yeah. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they didn't have a bag. But I have in the past not had a bag, and I've walked back to the place so I could pick it up.
Good for you.
Yeah, I try.
We all could use more of you.
Yeah, maybe. I'm also just like really fearful that like someone saw my dog do that. So I'm like, I can't have that. They're like, dude, fair. This bitch.
Like her and her poopy dog just
exactly.
walk around and just
they see me
loads.
in town somewhere. Yeah, dropping loads off this goddamn house. Oh my god.
But anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A healthy dynamic is to get things brought to your attention.
Yeah, I agree.
And a healthy dynamic is also being able to receive that information, and
the receiving is hard. It's easier to tell it.
Of course.
It's also hard to tell it, but it's easier to tell than to receive.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got to just guards down. No one's trying to pick a fight. Unless they are trying to pick a fight, then you're in the wrong relationship.
That's true. Unless it's like for fun.
Yeah. Okay. Toxic Madison.
Oh, no. Maybe. No. Okay. But we were talking about before we were recording compartmentalizing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got on to the fact that when we're close to our period, we talk about it as like the veil is lifted. And so all of these things come to a head and we're felt way stronger. So then we were talking about compartmentalizing versus like feeling the feeling, and like where is the in between on that. But do we have an answer? The answer is no, we don't. But I think both are healthy. Like compartmentalizing, sometimes you need to, like I was thinking about like your example with work of like how you bring it home some days, but you need to like isolate that issue and be like, okay, we're dealing with that tomorrow at 8 a.m. Right now I'm going to be with Phil and with Madison. We're going to go on a walk and I'm in a good mood because life is great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's healthy, I think, to some degree. And then we have feeling the feeling and letting yourself sit in it for a second. That's also good because then you figure a lot of shit out and then you can release it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think the way that I could picture it is feel it until you can feel that it's not what you need to be feeling anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, once it gets past the solutions driven or like the resolutions driven section of feeling, or just releasing of frustration or whatever the feeling may be, okay, let it go. Now refocus.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then I also will say that like sometimes I think it's helpful, like if I'm in a bad mood, like I want to be better at this, but if I'm in a bad mood, like I want to be honest with the people around me and be like, I am not in a good mood right now. I'm just saying this moving forward. Like I'm owning my feelings, not feeling like happy-go-lucky Madison today, but I'm down to hang out. And if it feels like I'm dragging you down, don't take it personally. Like I'm trying my best. It's just today is an off day. Like I just would rather be more honest in that way versus someone think like, did I do something wrong? Or like, what the fuck is wrong with her today? You know, like what's going on? I'd rather just be like, I'm sad right now, and I don't know why, and I think it will probably pass in 30 minutes, but like I just like don't feel good.
I think maybe even saying it would help you get over it quicker.
No, it does. It does help me get over it too. Like I realized that in Croatia when I was sleep deprived like really badly one day, and I was telling Kelly and I was like, I'm not good right now. I need to go take a nap. I don't know what's going on. She's like, okay, like whatever you need. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go in my room and not talk to anyone. And I took a nap and then I felt better. But it does feel good to just like tell people because then also they can support you versus like my typical pattern is just like a wounded animal who goes and sits in the corner and like figures it out herself, which that's still very much my pattern because we were talking about this earlier is that like I think a lot of things don't need to be said, but I take that too far sometimes where I'm like, no, just say that out loud and let your people support you because don't you like supporting them? The answer, yeah, I do love it. Like it makes me feel important when you guys call upon me. So I should let you guys also feel that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We've had an episode about this.
I think we have.
We totally have.
But things just like come back around. Like it's like a constant cycle of like, well, did we address it fully? There's new things here that I need to be talking about. So let's go back and then we'll see.
Can we end this episode on lifting the veil when you're about to be on your period or you're on your period or you're about to be on your period and what this full moon that we're having right now means that you were told in yoga? Can we talk about those two things?
Yeah.
Lifting the veil first.
Okay, well, where do we want to start with that?
Was just like we've kind of grazed over it.
Okay, well, I think from our experience, like I always describe it, I think like in spirituality, lifting the veil is like it's a serious phenomenon that I'm not even going to go into right now. So I don't know if we're using this phrase correctly, but for us on our period, we're getting close to it. Like emotions are high. And I feel like every time there's just something is lifted where it's like, I can't like move past things that I've typically like stuffed in the back of my mind. I'm like, all right, this is at the forefront now and you need to look at this or else it's going to affect you and you're going to bring it home with you. Like coming back to that example, like I will bring this with me day to day if I don't address it now. So let's do it. So that's what I mean by like the veil is lifted. Like it's just like skin is peeled off. We're vulnerable and we have to address like this issue now.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the full moon because I feel like they coincide and probably because I'm about to get my period.
Which is so cool. Like on the full moon almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get mine on the new moon. So we're a little off. But that's okay.
But what was it talked about in yoga?
Okay. So in yoga this morning, my teacher was talking about the full moon and I guess how this moon, which is going to be on the 21st, and this episode will release on the 24th, I believe, on Wednesday. So it's Sunday right now for us. And the full moon, I guess, is stepping back into your power and also releasing things that no longer serve you. And I was laying in yoga when she's explaining this and I'm like, yes, like there are all women in the room and we're just like nodding our heads because we like fully agree with it. And then I can even say, and this is like not new knowledge, but like going through like our cycle is supposed to be with the moon. So it's like only natural that like we would shed these layers and like step back into our power whenever that is for you, when you start to bleed or whatever. But yeah, I just was thinking and I was telling Tess this is I felt like I've been doing like a lot of spiritual work and then I was having like a lot of fun because I was feeling like new and then I kind of just like became ungrounded and I don't want to feel like that at this moment in time. Like that feels like really uneasy. So like I need to like ground myself in the earth, like physically and also just like mentally come back to myself and focus on my goals and all of that. And I also like paired that with like, I feel like I've been really, don't bark Rosie. Her bark is so like alarming. There is an alarm going off right now. I hear it. But I was telling Tess, I was like, I feel like recently I've been like really closed off to things and like had a closed heart. So like I want to have more of an open heart, which is like very vulnerable and like scary in a sense because it's like, well, what does that even look like for you? Like, I don't know, but I just like need to embody that more so. Cause like I don't like feeling closed unless like you fuck with me, I'll be close to you, you know, like it's just like no coming back from that. But for the most part, like I want to be open-hearted and like attract people and opportunities in my life that mirror that.
Yeah. Aw. Beautifully said.
Thanks.
Um, okay.
It's
I'm
a
just like
lot. Like we were
digesting it.
talking
Yeah.
about this before the podcast and we were just like if we had our mics on at the island, it would have just been like such an intense conversation. Like this is only a little sliver of it.
Well, and then so getting like to merge the two, because we talked about these two topics together just a few minutes before sitting down for this.
Mm-hmm.
I was like explaining to Madison, I went and I deactivated my Instagram. How long that will last, who even knows? Um, maybe a week, maybe forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's up in the air right now. But for me, I explained to Madison like what triggered me to act on that, but then like figuring out what the bigger picture was, like what the root of the issue really is.
Right.
And if we're talking about Instagram in general, I just think that I was getting exposed to way too much. Even like nothing harmful, right? Just everybody's life. And I think my life is really full right now. And if I see all this other stuff that's like, I don't know, it like throws me off. It confuses me. It's just too much information.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't have room for it. It takes my focus off of what I am doing and what I want to do, and I just can't have it anymore.
Right.
So for right now, I put the plug in there and I said, okay, no thanks.
Yeah.
But then we were talking about this new moon and kind of how they're lifting the veil and the new moon. They're both kind of symbolizing the same thing of like there's changes coming. And I didn't even really like, I didn't think I believed in this stuff, but it feels so real for me in this moment that I can't help but feel like, okay, then yes, I do.
Yes.
And I've been noticing that there's things that I ignore and I try to tell myself like, no, it's fine. You're good. Like stick with it. And then it's clearly not okay. Like my nervous system tells me it's not okay. Everything feels wrong. And like for some things to set me off like that, it just shows me, okay, nope, you're not grounded either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning like the most beautiful day of my life, which is going to be so mellow and chill, yet I'm stressed about it. Nope, you're not grounded.
Right.
You're missing the point entirely, right? And that's what this all has felt like recently. And I feel like, boom, veil lifted. That's the issue, Tess. Too much going on. Hunker down and focus on what really matters. What is that for you? Get clear on it and then just stick with that for now. And eventually you'll be able to add more stuff back in. But right now, scale it way back and just hunker.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So we got that same goal then for the next however long.
Which is really nice that we're on the same page, because if I was like, woo, and you were like, nope, I need to root down.
Yeah.
Obviously that would be okay. And we've had moments like that. But because we live together, we have our business together, so much is aligned. It helps even more if we're on the same vibe.
Yeah, because then we can also like extract things from both of our experiences and then share them, and it'll help the both of us. Yeah. I feel like when I just wanted to like note when you were saying like, I don't know if I believe in all this, like the moon and stuff, like the cycles with the moon and then like our cycles and how it affects us as people. And my teacher this morning was talking about that. And I was just like, previously I would have been that person that like, is like, I don't believe in that stuff. Like that's like woo woo bullshit. But now I just do, like, it just like makes sense to me now, especially like with connection in nature. Like as we grow older, I feel like I'm just connecting more with nature. So it only makes sense that like what's going on with the moon cycles or whatever it is affecting us like as human beings. And maybe that is woo woo, but I like it. And I'm a part of that crew now.
I mean, spirituality is spirituality, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways to slice and dice it. And there, like, I feel like studies have shown that faith in something, belief in something just adds so much value to your life. Like, why not?
Yeah, and I think like a point that I was trying to get across just now is that like previously I felt, and even now I still feel like it's easier to be a hater of things.
Oh my, of course it is.
Yeah, so then when you're not, it's just like is going against the grain. But then I think like how cool that is anyway, of like being different and like wanting different. So yeah, that makes me run with it more. Just like, no, I don't want to be a hater. Some things I totally am, and I just am, and I try to open my mind, like I really do, and it's a practice, but for the most part I just want to be like very open to all things.
same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine a world where people are more like that. I mean, I know there are so many people out there that are.
There are, but it feels like it's like counterculture, doesn't it? Like, where are those people?
Mm-hmm.
We find them little bits and pieces, which thank God we do. But for the most part, I'm just like, damn, you got to weed through a lot of the shit to get those gems.
Well, I have a feeling like it's everyone who's still listening.
Totally. Yeah, that's true.
Maybe.
Fucking OGs. Thanks, guys.
All right. I feel like that's all for this week.
Yeah, I feel good about that. That was a good conversation.
We got a nice toot by Rosie.
I even forgot about that.
Oh my God, my hair is so knotted. If you have long hair that's really thick, you understand the dilemma. Yeah, I feel good. I don't know why I felt inclined to bring that moment back up, but I did.
Okay, good. That's fine. That's totally fine. Yeah, I feel good too. Our knees are now touching.
I hope everyone has a great week. Happy Wednesday. Cowboys
Yay!
are back in action.
We're so happy to be back. And we wish this was our permanent setup, but it's nice to have like a guest space for the week, you know?
It's just really nice. Like the couch is really nice. And we'll leave you on this. Philip really wants to get a new comfy couch. And I think maybe we commit.
Like, where is this one from?
We can look at the tag, but
we know it's expensive.
It was okay.
Okay.
We can sell our old one.
Uh-huh.
We can get some art for the walls and we can feel good about our space again. We just don't feel good about our normal setup if we're being fully transparent.
Yeah, we just need like to judge things up. Like we're in a new beginning era and that's just going to be part of it. We got to spend money.
Show your feet and then we can get money for the podcast.
No, I'll literally create a foot finder. We've been talking about this. It's getting annoying. We're going to do it.
I don't know. My ego
like,
says
feel like,
no, and then my dreams for
but then I'm like,
being able to buy a new couch.
If we could just do it for a new couch, I will literally do that.
Don't be stingy.
Well, they got a preview. I never go barefoot.
Okay.
But I'm on a new couch, so I can't not.
I have so much
Anyway.
to say. Okay, you guys, thank you for listening all the way through. We love you.
Yeah, if you're still listening, you're great. Like, you're just automatically going to have a great week. You might win money. Go for the lotto, honestly.
Or start a feet finder.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Either or. Bye.
Talk soon.
Yeah, talk soon.